Once, hackers broke systems for status, chaos, and bragging rights. Today, many of them break systems for a salary, a bonus, and a performance review. Same skills, different invoice. The corporate world didn't win the war against cybercrime. It surrendered. And then it put the invaders on the payroll. Here's the uncomfortable image to hold in your head. The same hands typing on a keyboard. Yesterday, they were tearing apart your database. Today, they're collecting your year-end bonus. The difference isn't the technology, it's the name printed at the top of the invoice. And this isn't a morality story, it's an economic one. In this video, we'll unpack 4 things. How hacking turned from a threat into an economic resource. How companies learned to price cyber risk like a balance sheet. How hackers moved from the underground to corporate payrolls. And why the line between outlaw and employee is thinner than most people think. Part 1. Hackers as an economic resource. Start with the most brutal asymmetry in cybersecurity. One attacker can probe 1,000 targets. One defender must protect every door, every window, every forgotten basement hatch. That asymmetry turns skill into leverage, and leverage turns into a labor market. Early hackers weren't employees. They were unpaid research and development. They found vulnerabilities because it was fun, or because it proved they were better than the system. At first, companies treated this as a moral problem. Bad people do bad things. Then reality forced a different conclusion. This wasn't about good or evil. It was about scarce talent meeting abundant vulnerability. Here's the cold math. A hacker's cost of attack. A laptop, a few lines of code, maybe the time it takes to drink a cup of coffee. A company's cost of defense, millions in software, hardware, consultants, audits, and constant anxiety. When the ROI looks like that, defense is structurally doomed. In a world with this kind of distorted return on investment, there is only one rational move. Turn attackers into your defense wall. Part 2. The cost of insecurity. Cybersecurity feels abstract until you translate it into money. A breach isn't just data leaving a server. It's downtime, it's legal exposure, it's customer churn. It's executives losing entire weeks to crisis calls. Boards can tolerate risk. They cannot tolerate unpredictable losses. That's why reports like IBM's matter. Year after year, they estimate the average cost of a major data breach in the multi-million-dollar range. But numbers still feel distant until systems stop working. When Colonial Pipeline was hit in 2021, fuel distribution across the U.S. East Coast froze. Gas stations ran dry. Markets panicked. The company didn't just face a security incident, it faced a political and economic crisis. Or look at MGM Resorts. When their systems went dark, casinos didn't just lose data, they lost operations, roughly $10 million a day by some estimates. At that point, the CEO isn't thinking, "We are insecure." They're thinking, "We are bleeding." And suddenly, the cost of paying hackers, whether as ransom or as salary, looks less like surrender and more like a tourniquet. Cyber risk stops being an IT issue. It becomes a cash flow problem. Part 3. From underground to corporate payroll. So what do rational institutions do with a risk that won't disappear? They internalize it. If you can't eliminate the threat, you bring the threat inside. You turn it into a cost center. Then you can manage it. That's where red teams come in. A red team is an in-house attacker. They think like criminals. They act like criminals. But they report like auditors. The goal isn't theft. It's proof. Proof that your security story matches your security reality. Then came bug bounties. Bug bounties are the market version of the same idea. You pay outsiders to find your flaws before criminals do. This isn't generosity. It's financial engineering. Think of a bug bounty as a put option. The company pays a small premium today, the bounty, to hedge against a catastrophic downside tomorrow. Instead of discovering a vulnerability through a headline, you discover it through an invoice. Some of the largest tech firms now pay millions each year through these programs, not as charity, as structured risk reduction. The market didn't kill hacking. It legalized part of it. Part 4. The hacker labor market. Once hacking enters payroll, it becomes a career. Careers come with ladders. Ladders come with titles, compensation bands, and LinkedIn profiles. You can now be a penetration tester, a security engineer, a cloud security architect, a threat analyst, an incident responder. Organizations don't buy security, they buy fewer surprises. The value of a skilled hacker inside a firm isn't heroism, it's variance reduction. A good security team lowers the probability of a catastrophic week. That's worth real money to executives who live quarter to quarter. There's also a dark irony here. In some corners of the tech world, the fastest way to a top salary isn't a prestigious degree. It's proof that you once broke something important. This is negative capital turned positive. A past offense becomes a future credential. Not because the system is ethical, but because it's efficient. Part 5. Governments and the institutional shift. States didn't watch this evolution from the sidelines. Governments need hacking talent too, not just for espionage or defense, but for basic functionality. Public systems are massive, old, and deeply entangled with daily life. When a retailer goes down, people get annoyed. When government systems fail, the cost becomes political fast. So regulation enters. Disclosure rules, critical infrastructure standards, procurement requirements. Regulation doesn't kill hacking, it reorganizes it. It favors large, compliant firms. It professionalizes the talent pool. It pushes risk management upstream. And quietly, governments build their own cyber capacity, sometimes directly, sometimes through contractors, sometimes through partnerships that look private until you read the fine print. Part 6. The gray zone still exists. If hacking has been absorbed, why does the underground still thrive? Because absorption is selective. Legal markets offer stability, the underground offers speed, anonymity, and sometimes much higher payouts. And between the two is a massive gray zone. What's illegal in one jurisdiction is tolerated in another. What's risky for one company is valuable for another. That creates arbitrage. And arbitrage doesn't care about ideology, it follows price differences. Digital systems ignore borders, even when laws don't. So the gray zone persists. Not because civilization failed, but because incentives don't align globally. Here's the structural takeaway. Hackers didn't become good. Organizations simply learned how to pay for the same capability in a safer form. Hacking moved from myth to mechanism, from threat story to budget line, from outlaws to balance sheet assets. In the modern economy, security isn't a wall. It's a constant negotiation between cost, risk, and attention. The most powerful systems don't eliminate threats. They price them. They hire them. They manage them. And that may be the most honest thing modern capitalism has ever done. Stay curious. Stay sharp.